After an enlightening session on the career opportunities in healthcare sector, let's gear up for the next session of the pre-conference symposium. I, Gunjan Tripathi,
and I, Sandhya Sharma,
students of MBA Hospital and Healthcare Management Program from Symbiosis Institute of Health Sciences on behalf of Symbiosis International University, welcome each one of you to this session on home healthcare challenges, standardization, accreditation and social perception.
Home healthcare aims to make it possible for people to remain at home rather than use residential, long-term or institutional-based medical care. It addresses clinical and rehabilitative needs that the patient requires during recovery.
Yes, it is often an integral component of the post-hospitalization process. Now I would like to welcome our speakers to grace the dais. Group Captain Dr. Suchitra Mankar, Founder and Director, Doorstep Health Services, a highly influential person. She has been a Medical Director and CEO at Lokmanya Group of Hospitals, Pune for almost a year. She was also the Director of Medical Services at Indian Air Force for about 28 years. Dr. Anuradha Sunil, the versatile Chief Managing Director of Indicare Healthcare Solution. She has 20 years of experience in primary care in India and UK. Madam is a member of Royal College of General Practitioners and is also a faculty of Sexual and Reproductive Medicine in the UK. Dr. Mahesh Joshi, the enterprising CEO of Apollo Healthcare. He has been associated with Apollo Hospitals for 15 years and has served as Group Head for Emergency Medicine for 10 years. He is also the Executive Co-Chairman of Society of Medicine India. Ms. Anshu Verma, Manager of Standards and Industry Interface, Health Sector Skill Council, Government of India. She is a nursing professional with a master degree in Hospital and Healthcare Administration with an experience of nearly 10 years in the industry. Mr. Sandeep Oberoi, the Astute General Manager of Philips Home Healthcare. He is also the Head of Marketing of Home Healthcare Solutions at Philips. Now I would request our speakers to grace the dais. I would request Group Captain Dr. Suchitra Mankar to commence the session.
Good afternoon, everybody. First speaker post-lunch. I know I'll have to work very hard to keep your interest. The food was, I believe, quite good. I have not had it so that I can continue speaking. Do pay attention. So, being the first speaker has its advantages because no one has said your points before. It has disadvantages because I don't know if I'm taking the right direction at all. I might be just going off on a tangent. We'll know as we speak. My topic, and before I go to that, home health care, I must compliment Symbiosis to even think of having this as one of the topics for a healthcare conference. It's very, very relevant, lot of money coming into it, as we'll see, and yet the smallest baby who needs the most attention. The topic, as they say, is perceptions and reality. So just like this fish which has suddenly become a bird and is flying and evolving, home health care has evolved in our country. As a small child who used to be tailing her grandmother all the time, my grandmother was the caregiver in the huge family that she looked after. Whether it was making special diets for the pregnant, for the babies and the old people, or even preparing for some impending death which she could somehow see coming, where she used to collect tulsi and coral and stuff and keep it ready, or looking after a 90-year-old father-in-law, right from looking after his food, movement, mobility, cleanliness, and so on. Women were the traditional caregivers. Things have evolved in that direction also, as we shall see. And so I'll start my presentation. So the good news for all of us, the healthcare market is booming. So all of us have lots and lots to do and for a very long time to come. Some ridiculous 17,640 billion market by 2020. I can't even imagine that. Home health care is also growing by leaps and bounds by all estimates and all business magazines. No wonder people are investing in it. One of the reasons is age and aging population. So by 2020, 332 billion old people in India. Now just imagine if all of them needed home care. But there are other factors too. Increase in chronic diseases, shortage of beds, increased insured healthcare, high expectation of quality, nuclear families and working couples. And here I'd like to bring out that it's not just the old, but even the ill and the very young who have now started looking for professional home care. Need not necessarily be health, but health related. Technology, the youngest baby and the biggest game changer on the block. Greater demand for primary care. Finally, that doctor with his bag is going to come home again because people, as they read more and learn more, understand the importance of prevention and not waiting. In Marathi, they say, angavar kadna, means you keep falling ill to the point that you can't take it anymore and only then you go to a hospital. And finally, the cost benefit, we'll look at that, of home care. These are all the factors that people talk of. So my aim today is not to also laud home care as the rising sun and say how great it is and how good it is. But I think in a forum of healthcare providers, hello there, I would like to take a very hard look at home care. I would like to discuss what should be the scope and the limitations placed on home care. I'd like to examine all our perceptions to see whether they're in line with reality. And lastly, try and recommend something. All this I'm going to do in 10 minutes. So in Modi's terms, I'm going to make home health care in India, but for India. I've tried to make a very complicated diagram, not done too well, but I hope you understand it. So the three buildings are a hospital, an insurance company, and technology-based home healthcare agency, which is tech-enabled. In the middle is the house where the patient or the person who uses the care is. There is a family which is directly linked with the person and a care provider. The family, whom we never speak of in home care, is actually the person with the authority and the budget. The need is of the patient. And unless the person in authority decides to take health care for that needy person, health care is not going to happen. Secondly, the care provider and the home care company are talking to each other, the care provider is talking to the patient and the family. Unfortunately, the two red lines are not talking. Home health agencies are not talking to hospitals who are definitely required in the chain of care. They're not talking to insurance companies, or rather insurance companies are not talking. I'm trying to talk to insurance company for the longest time, but they're not talking to us. And till that happens, we're not going to have too much home care happening. Another thing are the advantages. Now, these are not what I necessarily believe are the advantages, but I've read a lot of brochures on home health, and these are some phrases that I've picked up. It's in the comfort and security of your home, when you want it, responsive, better prevention and early diagnosis, affordable, personalized, no waiting, no traveling. Whom do these advantages accrue to is what this whole exercise is about. So just quick look at all these pictures, again taken from the net. Some of them are real, some of them are posed. So can someone tell me in the audience, what are all these pictures about? Anybody? Very good. Home health care, yes. Anything else that you notice common to all of them? Old age. Anything else? Healthy old people, very good. Happy people, very happy. I've never seen such happy patients in my life. Anything else? Well, very comfortable. Everyone seems to have done a good job. And they are, liked the care, and the patient has been liked by the caregiver, and everything is just working beautiful. And they are all in very homes that are very posh and well appointed. So this begs the question, what is home in home health care? Will you provide health care in such homes? Majority of the population in India, of those 330 billion who are going to be above 60, 70% are going to be in the rural area. 40% will not have a pakka roof. Maybe by 2020 it might become 25, but even that is a huge number. 80% uninsured. Most live in 1 to 2 room houses. 1 toilet household is the norm. So how are you going to create anything for these people is the challenge. Comfort and security of the home cannot apply only to the person being treated. What about the female attendant at home alone being watched all the time? What about the old lady of the husband who says that I feel insecure with a male attendant at home because we are only 2 of us and both of us are very old? We need to look at health care for them. Excuse me, I had 12 minutes, I was told. So how have you given me this time out? No, just asking, because I think I'm into 7 minutes now. Okay, 9. Other family members may have a lack of space. There might be a 16-year-old daughter around who just suddenly finds that one toilet being used with the attendant is becoming a huge thing. You might have the family whose husband is not eating food, but you have to make food for the attendant, give him bedding. He shouldn't clash with timings. Can you leave him alone at home when you're going out? Comfort and security needs to be looked at in this way also. The healthcare aid, called many things, does the same things. The same name in different companies do many different things. People have come to me and said, teach them how to put a catheter. I've seen attendants put catheters. I have been asked, teach them how to care for a tracheostomy, which I have refused because I said if it falls in and he goes into a spasm, what is going to happen? I think we need to look at all this. We need to look at what is good training. Is it just a long training? What needs to be done? How it is to be taught? And is it standardized across the country? We need to look at why 8th class pass? How long will these people work? How long are we going to have 8th class pass people working in India? I think we've got that mix wrong. We need to look at it. And lastly, of course, the dignity, respect, etc. of this grassroots worker on which this home health care seems to revolve. Other medical manpower, specialists don't go home. We don't have appropriate equipment for the home. It needs to be invented, innovated. We need doctors and nurses who are at par with hospital nurses, but we don't get them. And I understand that because home health care is in a different field, but we need to then look at it like that. We need to set the limits on home health care, is what I'm trying to bring about in all these sites. It's a great value addition, but we are not going to replace hospitals. It's a great primary care idea, so let's use it like that. Who will get home care? What hygiene factors do you need at home before you can say, yes, this person can take home care? Can someone who has a toilet 10 feet away be given home care? If there's just one room apartments, do you give home care? Or is it only for the elite? And advanced care at home, who takes this decision? The hospital, the treating doctor, or the family? Technology, like I said, is a huge game changer. It can improve access, equitability, and responsiveness. Research and innovation in this field, I think, is something we really need to do. Lastly, let's talk to hospitals. We will need hospitals. We need sterile environments. We cannot keep adding things into a house as the patient becomes more and more serious. We don't know which direction it may take. There need to be protocols in place about how this will be done. I'll just take a little time on this slide of affordability. I've just put the numbers over here. They're pretty conservative. It may be cheaper than a hospital. I don't really know. I'm an insured care user. But in no way is this affordable to most people in the country. I think the government should provide incentives and SOPs to home health providers and make them provide home health and primary care in our rural areas. That's one way of increasing health in the country at the primary care level. Responsiveness, you need good portable equipment, 24/7 doctors, not the ones who come at 9 in the morning only. We need planned evacuation protocols to make sure that if things go wrong, how and where are we going to evacuate? This needs to be discussed with the family. Quality, medical, legal, and ethical issues are too many. I cannot take, and I think some person is going to be speaking on them, but I just needed to sort of emphasize it. The care provider agencies, I happen to be one of them. They were initially unorganized, they are getting organized. I believe, and my takeaway would be, all home care agencies should make an association as soon as possible. Get on a common platform, we can thrash out our common problems at least, and frame rules for ourselves before some person who knows nothing about medicine frames them and gives them to us, and then we are only left to sort of, get around with them. And how to provide care for all, I think, is a very big challenge. In conclusion, home health is not the panacea for all ills, but is a great value add. I leave it for the House to debate. Home health for all is a need and needs to be delivered. Health assistant as a new cadre must emerge. The armed forces have this cadre in a very formal way since the times of the British. And I think they can set a gold standard. You can train the way they train, and care would really have a third dimension to it. Other governments must provide incentives and opportunities, and only then can today's perception of home health become reality. Thank you. I believe there are no questions, so we will take them during the discussion. Thank you. I have to now introduce Anshu Verma will be speaking ahead of schedule as she has to leave. Yeah. Miss Anshu Verma, she is speaking next because she has to leave, and then Dr. Anuradha would be after that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suchitra. And very good afternoon to all people and the experts and the audience over here and friends of mine over the dais. Thank you so much, Symbiosis Institute of Health Sciences, to give us opportunity to Healthcare Sector Skill Council, and other than that, other all eminent speakers and people to gather at one platform and do a brainstorming that what is required as per in today's scenario. So I have not prepared any presentation. I'll be just speaking it out on behalf of Government of India as from the Healthcare Sector Skill Council. So to introduce myself, I am Anshu Verma, and I am a nursing professional with MBA in healthcare, having 10 years plus experience in medical and services industry. In the council, I look after the creation of the standards, affiliation of the training institute, assessment and certification. So all these terms, this affiliation, certification, standard creation, this gives a holistic idea of standardization. Well, standardization is really required. In our country, we have professionals in the healthcare if we talk about, and for that matter, if we talk about a hospital, a healthcare structure. So we have doctors, we have nurses. Apart from that, we have allied health professionals. And other than that, we have non-allied health professionals, and all together constitute a healthcare delivery system. So if we look at the doctor, they have a council. If we look at the nurses, they have a nursing council. But if we look into the allied health, we don't have any regularization or a standardization. There comes the picture of Healthcare Sector Skill Council, where we create a standard, a framework. On the lines, the training needs to happen. On the lines, affiliation of the training institute needs to happen. Because, for example, the infrastructure which you need to train these manpower, that needs to be standardized. For example, the institute, it's a premier institute, we are here today. They have world-class thing. They are affiliated for the job role. So, a person who needs to be trained have to have exposure to these equipment. They have to have exposure to the good faculty. They have to have exposure to the clinical areas. At the end, they will be able to give what is exactly required. So that standardization is bring about from the Sector Skill Council. So if we talk about home health care, so when the Sector Skill Council was doing a mapping that what all high-end job roles required in the country, and we find top 100 job roles, so home health aid was a part of it. So home health aid is actually required not only in Indian context but globally. So across the country, not only Indians, but if we look to the developed countries, the population there is aging. We have a more younger people. So they are looking forward to our country to provide them with the manpower who is competent to help them out in their day-to-day daily activities at their home setting. So there is clear-cut requirement, not only in India, but abroad. So we've created a qualification which we call a National Occupation Standard for Home Health Aid, which is there available for the trainings. There are training institutes across the country who are providing training on that, and there is a good placement also. So Healthcare Sector Skill Council, which is a catalyst for developing new agile workforce and transforming processes to bring standardization in terms of competency, training delivery, assessment, and transforming people to job ready. So it is that we are creating people through our training institute who are job ready to work in the settings. Now, as ma'am was saying that a framework needs to be created. So when the standards are there, anyone who looks into that standard, he can find out that what all competence